Ready?
Well, I would.
No,
yeah.
hang on.
Okay, I'm hanging on.
I want you to close your eyes.
Wait. One hand, both hands.
What?
What am I hanging on with? One hand. Okay.
Both hands. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Everybody else, close your eyes. Everybody, close your eyes.
I'm clenching.
Okay. I want everybody to imagine for a moment.
Oh crap!
What
I'm already
if?
going to be bad at this.
What if this most recent phase of Marvel was good? What if? Just imagine. What if?
So what if there was no She-Hulk? What if there was no She-Hulk, no Moon Knight, no Quantumania? God, Quantumania was bad.
It was so bad.
Quantumania was kind of like, are you just dicking around with us now? Like, is this?
We've talked about how there have been some good. There's been some good stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy was really good.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No Way Home was obviously.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not No Way Home was good, like a good film standalone on its own, it was a great experience. It was a fun time.
Strange wasn't bad. Multiverse of Madness wasn't bad.
Although it's divisive.
Yeah, it is
I
divisive.
like Eternals. I think Eternals was good. I liked Eternals.
Eternals was definitely one of those.
Yeah, now
wasn't
it's
bad,
created problems because no one's talking about the giant dead celestial in the ocean.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there. Anyway. Obviously, Shang-Chi was brilliant. Yeah. But there's been hiccups along the road. What I was going to say is I would like to pretend that there is, not even pretend, I would like to submit the notion that there is an alternate universe out there in which we did this review in a more timely fashion. It happened. It was just somewhere a different universe.
We did. It just got lost to the annals of weeks and months, and we got to it.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
We are the B team.
That my not so multiverse traveling friend there is Carl,
and over there, sitting in some celestial chair of righteousness, is Brady.
I'm actually so common misconception. I'm actually I'm actually keeping the tree together. I'm actually
Loki's sitting on you.
I wish Tom Hiddleston is a dream. No, much like the seat fillers at the Oscars because they don't want the seats to look empty.
Right.
Loki was just a fill-in for me. And he did his job, and it was, it was great. We're here, and we are reviewing I was going to say highly anticipated. I don't know that that's true. I mean, for
I
sure,
would say
for some people.
Not highly.
And the anticipated What If Season 2. Obviously, we had What If Season 1. I said, we didn't review What If Season 1, but I've talked about with you on the podcast a couple of times, sort of my thoughts on What If Season 1. And it was kind of like, it was fun. It was fun.
I really enjoyed it.
But for me, it's like, this isn't like top tier. This isn't like must watch Marvel.
No. And that's like what the What If comics are. They've never been, even the comics themselves haven't been like, you must get this comic. It's the greatest comic ever. They've always been like these fun side stories. It was like, oh man, that's a cool idea. Let's explore that.
So we're going to review all of season 2 together. One episode.
We're just going to kind of
9 episodes in one episode. Yeah. So I've got a little bit of a breakdown of what each episode is here. So I thought I would read just the quick short little paragraph of what each episode is, and then once I'm done reading that, we can just give our thoughts on it, and if there's anything specific about that episode we want to talk about, then great. I do want to, let's quickly do an initial impression of the season overall. My initial impression of the season overall. I've never seen a show that has, in season 1, so interestingly set up a conflict And then come season 2, not even episode 1 of season 2, but come season 2, about halfway through, explained away that entire conflict in one line of dialogue.
What conflict is this?
That Ultron has all of the Infinity Stones and that he's like breached the multiverse and all of the heroes have to now come together.
Right. So
all of the heroes from the independent stories in the first one have to now come together. They wrapped that
up last season though.
Nah, it's still, there was cliffhanger things.
No, it was I think it was a pretty clean it, because episode 8 was when Ultron won, he sees the Watcher, and episode 9, Watcher brings together all the what if stories characters pretty much as a multiverse Avengers to stop Ultron. And they stop him.
Sure? Are you sure?
They stop him cold, because what ends up happening is Killmonger ends up with all the Infinity Stones, and then the Dark Doctor Strange that we meet earlier in the season.
You're right.
He encapsulates that Killmonger in a kind of time bubble.
Yep, you're right.
Thing, and he's stuck there for eternity. So yeah, what if last season cleaned itself up really neat? In my opinion, last season worked well, but it didn't need those last. I think the last 2 episodes were kind of unnecessary. So like,
you would rather they all just stayed independent stories.
Yeah, I would.
Right.
Which is one of my issues with this season. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. So like, yeah.
Well,
it's nice that it was just the last 2. Like up until episode 8 of 9, they were independent stories.
Yeah. Well, and they're definitely not all independent stories in this one.
No.
Eventually they kind of but they weave each other together. I mean, we'll get into this, but they weave each other together in a really suspend disbelief, sloppy kind of way. And so, we'll get into that. Do you have any more of an initial impression, or that's kind of also kind of covered it?
We'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. All right. So episode 1 is, what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps? Nova Prime recruits Nebula to join the Nova Corps following Ronan the Accuser's successful coup against Thanos. 5 years later, after Xandar is sealed off from the universe to protect itself from Ronan's forces, Nebula discovers Yondu's body and receives orders from Nova Prime to investigate. She learns that Yondu located the codes to open the planetary shield and enlists Kree soldier Yon Rog to infiltrate the Nova Corps mainframe and destroy them. Yon Rog betrays her, revealing that he and Nova Prime plan to give up Xandar to Ronan. Nebula survives an execution attempt by Nova Prime's men, subsequently enlisting casino owner Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. Yeah. And his subordinates, Groot, Meek, and Korg, to stop Nova Prime. During their fight, Nebula reveals that she realized Nova Corps' defection when she assigned the mission to her and altered the code so that the shield would close again. As Ronan's ship, the Dark Aster, enters Xandar, destroying it and killing Ronan. Nova Prime tries to escape but falls to her death. The shield reopens as Nebula prepares to continue defending Xandar. The cast that we have that are like notable casts, obviously, is Karen Gillan is in it as Nebula. Jude Law is in there as Yon Rog, sort of reprising his role from Captain Marvel. Seth Green is in there as Howard the Duck. You have Michael Rooker as Yondu. Taika Waititi's there as Korg. I think that's sort of the general... Right. Yep, of the live action, because obviously it's not Glenn Close's voice doing Nova Prime, and it's not, there's a couple other, it's not Vin Diesel doing Groot. Okay, so it's always fun to see Taika Waititi as Korg. In any MCU content with Korg it's a good day.
Yeah, he's a fun character.
Howard the Duck is fun to have Howard the Duck in there, and I think that Marvel's realized that outside of the little post-credit scenes and the nods here and there that they've done with Howard the Duck, you really can't, like, this is, if Howard the Duck is going to live in the MCU anywhere, it's in animated Elseworld stories. Like, they're not gonna do a Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah, not again.
Not again. My overall take on this episode was, it was fine, but why? Like, I just didn't care, and it felt like, in particular, it felt like a weird and weak B-list character-centric episode to start off your season with. To kick things off. This is the season premiere about Nebula? Like, yeah, Nebula, warmed all our hearts and whatever in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and we all warmed up to Nebula over the years, and we all care about her now and whatever. But compared to some of the other, like, major, like, ooh, like, you look at the list of questions that season 2 is posing, and what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps? Doesn't seem like season premiere material to me.
Interesting
take. I don't know. So I ultimately didn't have any major issues with it. Right. I wasn't like, well, this is dumb, this is, whatever, but I also just didn't care. Like, this wasn't an interesting question to me to pose.
Right. I would say, the question, the what if question that is posed here, what if Nebula joined the Corps? I would agree with you that the what if question is feels uninteresting a little bit. But I would say what they did with the story and the feel and the vibe was like exactly what I want from a what if story. Is perfect.
Right. Okay.
You've got, like, when you think of Nova, the planet, every time we've kind of seen it, it's like well lit. It looks like a utopia, right? Here it's flipped. It's like cyberpunk, dark, dirty, grimy, very Blade Runner inspired. This episode. Right. And we see characters who are not fitting their normal molds, and characters interacting with each other who normally wouldn't, with like Korg fitting into this group, right? And Nebula being on the Nova Corps. So, man, I just thought, yeah, this worked for me as a what if episode, though, as a whole.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it really, I feel like it set a good tone for a what if season.
Okay. I mean, so we disagree, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think the question could have been better to really like punch up the interest of it, but
yeah, but like for the premiere, right? Like to kick things off, it's just like it doesn't seem like a title. It doesn't seem like a premise that is going to suck people in. Yeah. And make them want to watch their day one, because this was like this season was the big, like, 9 episodes every day for 9 days straight, finishing off 2023 kind of. They tried to make a big event and spectacle out of it.
Yeah.
So and it just seems like a weird way to kick your spectacle off.
Might have been something like, what if Nebula saved Xandar?
Yeah, maybe.
That sounds a little more interesting than Nebula joining Nova.
Yeah, maybe. I agree.
And maybe that gives away too much for the ending. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Next up, we have what if Peter Quill attacked Earth's mightiest heroes? So already right off the bat, more interesting. You're like, oh wait, what? Oh snap! Right? Like that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
In 1988, the Ravagers take Peter Quill to Ego, who urges him to help his expansion across the universe. 6 months later, after ravaging several worlds, Quill returns to Earth in response. In response, Peggy Carter and Howard Stark recruit Bill Foster, King T'Chaka of Wakanda, Bucky Barnes, Dr. Wendy Lawson, and a reluctant Hank Pym, who brings his daughter Hope Van Dyne along. After a scuffle on Coney Island, the team detains Quill with help from Thor. As the team discusses their next move, Van Dyne frees Quill, who travels to Missouri. As T'Chaka, Foster, and Thor aid Carter's forces in holding back Ego, Pym and Lawson encounter Quill visiting his mother's grave. A sympathetic Pym convinces him to stand against his father. Barnes, under the influence of his manipulators, prepares to assassinate Quill until Stark reminds him of his best friend, Steve Rogers. As Ego overwhelms the heroes and attempts to obtain his seed, this is so weird, Pym and Quill arrive in time to stop him, with the latter using the seed to destroy Ego's avatar. The team, minus Barnes, celebrates their victory before setting out to confront Ego himself. Big cast this time. You've got Michael Douglas back as Hank Pym. You have Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. You have John Slattery as Howard Stark. Kurt Russell is back as Ego. Chris Hemsworth is in there as Thor. Lawrence Fishburne is there as Bill Foster. Sebastian Stan is Bucky Barnes. Atandwa Connie plays King T'Chaka, which he did in... he plays the young King T'Chaka in the flashback in Black Panther, when you kind of see like the setup for the motivation of Killmonger and right. you know, why that's...
When he kills Killmonger's dad.
Yeah. And so that's kind of it for the returning notable cast.
Right.
You know. Yeah. But of mention, because this talks about, you know, how well, no, okay, we'll wait until the next episode to talk about this. But yeah, so there you have it.
Yeah.
Much more interesting episode to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Finally, nice to see Peter, because I think just because of the way that he's been done, like obviously it's been talked about in the films and it's whatever. And we've seen that, you know, like Peter Quill is like the only human that has physically put hands on an Infinity Stone and lived to tell the tale. But we often forget that he is part human, but he's also 50% celestial.
Yeah. Yeah, and
he's 50% planet-eating God.
Too, there's always a question of how much of that remains too.
Right.
Which they've never done.
So yeah, and you just but you don't really get to see it very often, right? You don't get to see Peter do some, you know, like survive in space for a bit without his helmet on and stuff like that. You get to see him do some things that you can explain away, like pretty far-fetched things that you explain away by going, oh, right, well, but he's the son of Ego. But we haven't really ever delved into what is Peter capable of if he were to tap into it. And this is an episode that gives us that. This is full on power-enabled, raging Peter Quill.
Yeah. 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 And it's another, like, in terms of a what if episode, it does a really good job of like placing these characters in situations we haven't seen before. Situations of like, yeah, it's like the whole episode kind of starts out of like, yeah, what if Yondu didn't or actually kept his end of the bargain with Ego and took Quill to Ego.
Yeah, instead of having a soft spot and being like, oh, he's just a kid.
Yeah. So like Ego gets to gets his claws into Peter as a child. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a great episode.
Mm-hmm. I do.
I think it's a really great episode. And interestingly, it is, the one episode. So this episode was directed by Brian Andrews. Much like is the case sometimes, like in television shows, it's not uncommon for there to be different directors throughout the series, right? Like, oh, this episode was directed by so-and-so. Sometimes you'll see, you'll be watching, I don't know, like Supernatural and Jensen Ackles wanted to direct an episode. So they let him direct an episode or whatever, whatever it was. It's especially common for the first season of a show. It's especially common for the pilot episode of a show, of a traditional broadcast show, to be directed by someone else, and usually a bigger name, right? So like in the case of the show Lost, right? The first episode of Lost is directed by J.J. Abrams. None of the rest of the show, like after that first episode, J.J. Abrams really doesn't have anything to do with Lost, right? But everyone always attributes Lost to J.J. Abrams. Interestingly, all of the episodes of the second season are directed by Brian Andrews, except for the first episode, which so far out of the two that we've talked about is, for me, the weakest episode, who was directed by a Stephen Frank. Frank? F? It's Frank, but with a C before the K. So I don't know how to pronounce it. Frank. I don't know why I don't turn into a duck when the C shows up. But so I don't know, right? I don't know if I'm like, oh, I just didn't like the first one because it had a different director and I didn't like, I don't know. But I think this is a solid episode. I think it's funny. I think it's got great action in it. It's got like superhero level action. Yeah. Right. And
you get the big standoff, like a line of tanks and heroes keeping the things back. And
it's fun to see Hank Pym and Bill Foster in their collaborative days.
Yeah.
Right. Before they're sort of estranged and ultimately working against each other.
There's still a little bit of like tension there, though.
Sure. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, and you mentioned like there's a lot of like superhero action. You said that, and my mind's like, yeah, this feels very similar to kind of the action we saw in the first Avengers movie, fighting the Chitauri. Like these big action pieces where the heroes kind of work together and use their powers on large levels on their own, and yeah, it was good.
So, did you liked this episode?
Oh yeah, this was great.
Yeah. Do you agree this is a stronger episode than the first one?
Yeah, I think it ekes that out for sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Now, episode 3, we have What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas? And it's just a fun it's just a fun question, right?
They do a great, like, we're kind of I'm getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but they do a great job of kind of spoofing. Oh man, I had it. You know what I'm going to say. Die Hard. They do a great job of spoofing Die Hard in this.
It's very Die Hard.
Which is pretty much all it is. It's a spoof on Die Hard.
It's very Die Hard. So on Christmas Eve, hang on, I'm going to sneeze. Maybe. Yeah, I did. Excuse me. On Christmas Eve, Happy Hogan is assigned to oversee security at Avengers Tower for the annual holiday party until Justin Hammer and his henchmen, Sergei and Rusty, break out of prison and assault the tower for Tony Stark's technology and a sample of Bruce Banner's blood. While attempting to save the blood sample, Hogan is accidentally injected with it, causing him to gradually transform into a Hulk-like monster while retaining his intelligence. With the Avengers busy and Stark's AI Jarvis inactive, Hogan contacts Darcy Lewis. Always good to see Darcy show up.
Yep.
Who tries to find a new AI to reboot the tower systems. However, she is taken hostage by Hammer's group, who hijack the Iron Legion and Stark's Hulkbuster armor. Once his transformation is complete, Hogan destroys the Legion and defeats Hammer. While Hammer is taken back into custody, the Avengers return, praise Hogan for his efforts, and resume their Christmas party. Big cast. We've got Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, aka / The Freak. We have Kat Dennings as Darcy Lewis, Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill, Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, and that's where it ends as far as like the recognizable names. So you've got, but what I was going to bring up in the last one, but it wasn't appropriate to bring up until now. You have Josh Keaton playing Steve Rogers. Okay, great. Lake Bell playing Natasha Romanoff. And the Emmy goes to Mick Ringwort, who, like, if you were to... Because we've been talking about how they could bring Tony back in the MCU, if they were to bring Tony back into the MCU. And one of the ways that we've been talking about is you bring him back as an AI. You bring him back as like the new Jarvis.
Yep.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if you were to do that and you were to do it without a visual representation, like without an actual hologram of Tony's face, and it's just like Jarvis style with like a visualizer and the voice, and you want to save money because you can't afford to get Robert Downey Jr. back, you get this guy.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, this guy
nailed it.
Does a great Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark. Like, there are times you can tell it's not him, but there are times, there are lines, inflections, and whatever that he does where you're like,
yeah.
Is it Robert Downey Jr.?
If you're not reinventing the character and you want somebody to be as Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark as possible, yeah, this guy does a great job.
Oh, he nails it. Nails it. Yeah, it's really, really, really good. I think it's a strong episode, but I'm also... This is a strong episode, and this is going to get a little bit into what you've kind of said your beef with this season is, and we'll get into it in a little bit here. But what I will say is I think this is a great episode as, like, this is a straight up farce, right? This episode is strictly farce.
And there have been What If comics that do the same thing. They kind of they're not great. Serious at all. They're just goofy fun.
And so this is this is a great episode if you allow it to stand on its own.
Yeah.
If it's off on its own and it doesn't tie into anything else. In my
opinion.
Yeah. And so that's kind of right. So like on its own, when I just watched this episode, I was like, oh, this is great.
This is a lot of fun.
Right. You get to see, you get to see Iron Legion, and you get to see the Hulkbuster armor come back. You get to see Justin Hammer again, who's like a character that we otherwise have no reason to revisit. You get to see
Happy as his alter ego from the comics.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is something like that, kind of him turning into the Freak and having this kind of not being able to control it thing, kind of almost like Bruce. Yeah, that's a comic thing. So it's nice to see that, right? And they don't have, and now any fan of kind of the Freak, I don't know how many there are there, but they've got their taste. They don't, you don't need to necessarily bring it into live action now because it's been done here.
Yeah, that is the genius of what if.
Yeah.
Right. And I've said that before. This show is the vehicle for being able to tell stories and touch on moments and plots from the comics that you otherwise could not do in the MCU, because this is something like we've debated this, right? We've talked about this, and I've stayed fairly strong on my point where, we talk about how adaptation, right? We talk about like, oh yeah, you know what? They came out with this movie, but they didn't, there was these three things from the comics that they just didn't nail the exact same way that it appears in the comics.
Or they left them out completely.
Or they left them out completely, or whatever. They they made some changes to, whatever it is. And I've been very adamant that, sometimes those changes are made needlessly, right? Sometimes that's just, which doesn't necessarily make them wrong either. Sometimes it's just creative liberty and wanting to adapt and tell your own version and do whatever. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but I also think that sometimes those changes are made out of necessity, because you can do things in the comics that people love in the comics, and straight up comic book fans who don't necessarily have filmmaking sensibilities, or they're just consumers. They just want to consume the content, and they have it in their mind that what they see in the comics is what they want to see in a film, don't understand or don't realize that some things that work well on the dotted page in comic books don't translate well to screen. Like, they just don't. It would look stupid. I know that's what you think you want, but if you actually got it, it would be tacky and dumb and lame, and you can't, and it would be over the top and stupid, and
or it would change the tone of the film completely.
It would change the tone. Like, some things just need to be touched up.
If Happy Hogan turned into the Freak at some point in the cinematic universe,
we'd all throw our arms in the air. Yeah, we'd throw our arms in the air and roll our eyes and go, "What the hell is this?
We already have the Hulk. Why do we need use the Hulk?"
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So it whets the appetites of this is a great space to whet the appetites.
Yes, because not only is it an Elseworld story where it doesn't matter, where you can do whatever you want, but it's also animation.
Yeah.
Right? And you can get away with a lot more in animation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's so anyways, all that being said, I think this is a great story. I think it's a lot of fun when looked at in a vacuum.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Sure, you don't have anything else to say about this?
It was a great episode. It's a great episode.
It's a die-hardy Happy Hogan turns into the Freak. It's great. Yeah.
What else do you want from a What If episode?
Episode 4, What If Iron Man Crashed into the Grandmaster? In 2012, Tony Stark saves New York City from the Chitauri by redirecting a nuclear missile towards their mothership. However, the wormhole he used closes before he can return to Earth. Here's the thing. This is my first and maybe only beef with this episode. This should have been the title. What if Tony didn't make it back through the wormhole?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because the second while I was watching it, the second it became apparent that was what was being set up here, I was like, ooh, Ooh, because this is the thing. Like, this moment in the MCU has been the catalyst for so much of who Tony's character is, right? And all of the anxiety he faced in Iron Man 3, and it led to Age of Ultron, and putting a suit of armor around the world,
also,
and like
crashing into the Grand Master. He didn't crash into the Grand Master. He crashed onto the planet,
onto Sakaar. Yeah. Anyways, so whatever. Causing him to crash land on Sakaar, where he is forced to stay by its ruler, the Grand Master. Stark intervenes in a death race to save one of the racers, Korg, and encounters Gamora, who is sent by Thanos to kill Stark for stopping the Chitauri before the Grand Master's chief enforcer, Topaz, imprisons the pair. Upon learning Gamora's purpose and vowing to stop the Grand Master, Stark escapes, recruits Korg and Valkyrie, builds a new Iron Man suit, a really badass one, by the way.
Yeah.
And challenges the Grand Master to a race for the title of Sakaar's ruler. Though the Grand Master tries to cheat, Stark ultimately wins, while Valkyrie defeats Topaz and melts the Grand Master. Such a good moment. He's like, it's all gooey. As Valkyrie is crowned king of Sakaar, Stark convinces Gamora to force her own path before joining her in leaving to confront and kill Thanos. In a mid-credit scene, the still-alive Grandmaster begs Topaz to collect his new puddle form. Why can't, like, it doesn't seem to matter where Valkyrie is the leader of. The title of queen is just unattainable to her.
That's fine. Yeah. I think there's an important thing that missed out. We've seen this Gamora before too.
Yes.
This is the Gamora from season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is, which is fun. Which is a fun tie-in, and that doesn't bother me, right? Because that technically violates the everything being a standalone thing, but that doesn't bother me. Does it bother you?
Slightly, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. A little bit.
Okay. This episode is perfection.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's so much fun. It feels like
Death
Tony
Race vibes.
Yeah, but it feels like Tony. Like it feels like you feel like you're watching Robert Downey Jr. and his quips and his one-liners and his whatever. Obviously, Korg is back, so not as big of a cast this time, right? So you've got Mick Ringwort doing Tony Stark
again,
but Jeff Goldblum is there as the Grand Master.
Yep.
Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Taika Waititi as Korg. Josh Brolin is there as Thanos. So there's that.
Yeah.
And Rachel House. Is Rachel House... Hang on a second. Yes, Rachel House reprising her role as Topaz. Okay. Perfect episode. So much fun. High stakes. Yeah, like you said, death race. And it's answering, ultimately they take the question of what if Tony didn't make it through the wormhole, and they take it in a really goofy, lighthearted, silly direction. But that's fine.
With some pretty kind of fun, serious, like it's silly and goofy because Tony Stark doesn't take anything serious.
Yes.
And he's being put in this situation where technology kind of runs this planet, but it's technology he can easily understand and control and make his own.
Yes. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun to see Korg interacting with everyone. It's fun to see the Grandmaster get melted.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
It is
a fun episode.
It's just so good. Like, this to me, up until this point is the best episode. And I wish that we got more like this. Right, because, and I think maybe, again, going back to the first episode, I don't think they tried to do anything that you couldn't have done on the silver screen. Right? Whereas this is really leaning into the fact, this is leaning into the medium. This is leaning into, it's animated, it's whatever we want it to be.
Crazy big stuff. Like, there would have been so much CG. I mean, we get a lot of CG anyway from comic book movies now, but like it would have been like 90%, 80%, 95% CG if it was silver screen.
Yeah.
Like they would have been animating it anyway.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But no, I think this is just this is truly a fantastic episode, and it's fun to see, like, okay, who was the Grandmaster's champion before Hulk was, right? We get to see his champion, and then obviously the champion's not Hulk because it's 2012 at this point. And I like the whole little, it's the Grandmaster's birthday and he's like 22 or something, right? He's like, time works a little differently here. Yeah. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about this one?
Well, yeah. So we see this Gamora isn't the Gamora, is a Gamora we've seen before. Excuse me. So it's like season 1, I'm gonna harp on this a bit this episode, but
that's okay because I assume you're really gonna harp on it in the next one.
And the next couple, So season 1, we had 9 episodes. Season 2, we've got 9 episodes. It really wasn't till episode 9 that characters made a second appearance. So if you don't do Ultron and you don't do the last episode where Watcher breaks his oath, you've got 7 what if episodes that stand on their own. They don't need anything else. Right? They got their own little encapsulated story. Eight and 9 kind of break the what if. Well, not so much 8, but because we don't reintroduce anybody till 9. 9 kind of breaks, for me, what should have been the what if mold for this show, and that everything should just be on its own, and we don't use the same characters twice. So that being said, this episode breaks that mold because it's not what if Iron Man didn't make it back through, or their title, if you want to use their title, what if Iron Man crashed into Grandmaster? It's also what happened. What happened to Gamora after she came back from season 1 battling Ultimate Ultron. So it's not a what if episode anymore. It's a what happened as well. You're telling 2 stories.
Yeah.
And that for me, you've broken the mold. It's not just what if anymore.
Right.
You're doing something different.
Yeah.
And while it doesn't ruin this episode because they don't put a huge emphasis on Gamora as much as they do, they keep that focus on Tony like they should have. The rest of the season definitely starts getting away from them in that respect.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
100%. This one didn't bother me so much, but moving forward, it's like, I should have rewatched the first season.
We're only on episode 4. So we got 3 episodes that were kind of what I would consider a true what if. And then we got a bunch of what happened and
collaboration
and yeah.
Yeah. So moving on then to another what happened episode.
Yeah.
we have what if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper. Captain Peggy Carter and Natasha Romanoff find Steve Rogers inside the Hydra Stomper armor aboard the Lumerian Star. But he attacks them. A briefing with Nick Fury leads Romanoff to deduce that Rogers, who went missing in 1953, was captured and brainwashed by the Red Room. Carter and Romanoff help Brock Rumlow protect Bucky Barnes from Rogers before incapacitating him and traveling to a secret hideout in Scotland, where they learn that the suit is keeping Rogers alive, though each activation reduces his chances of survival. Rogers offers to help Carter dismantle the Red Room in the hopes of finding a cure before escorting her and Romanoff to a former KGB site. However, the group is ambushed by drones and Black Widow assassins controlled by the Red Room's leader, Melina Vostokov, who reactivates Rogers' brainwashing. While Romanoff holds off Vostokov's forces, Carter reaches out to Rogers, who sacrifices himself to destroy the Red Room. Amidst this, Romanoff uses her grappling hook to tie Vostokov to Rogers' suit, killing her in the resulting explosion. As Carter tries to find Rogers, a portal suddenly takes her to a Renaissance-themed universe where she encounters its variants of Fury and Wanda Maximoff. So, this episode is both a continuation of what we saw in season 1.
Yep.
And is also the true setup of the sort of the
story,
climactic conflict of this season.
Right. So not only does this episode not stand alone because it's had something come before and it has something go after, it's not what if at all.
No.
It's what happens. Or what happened.
Big cast, again, in some ways, simply just by the fact that we have Samuel L. freaking Jackson is here as Nick Fury.
Yeah.
You have Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter / Captain Carter. You have Frank Grillo comes back as Rumlow. You have Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. And you have Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff. Mm-hmm. Or in this, technically, Wanda Merlin. And then you have Rachel Wiz as Melina Vostokov from the Black Widow movie.
Yeah. And I feel like, are you moving on from cast?
Yeah. Who am I missing?
Like we had an excellent stand-in for Iron Man.
You think this is a great Steve Rogers?
Lake Bell as Natasha Romanoff did a great job.
She does a good job, but at no point do I think she sounds anything like Scarlett Johansson.
No, but she feels like Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow.
She feels like Natasha Romanoff. Yes. Yeah. So she's great, just in a different way than Mick Ringwort. Mick Ringwort is like possessed by RDJ.
Yeah.
Like this is bizarre. Listen, despite the fact that this is not a what if episode, this is a what happened and a what's going to happen episode. I think it's fun that, and again, they've mistitled this episode. Right? What if Steve Rogers was captured by the Red Room? Ooh. That's something that, then you're like, ooh, the Red Room and Steve Rogers. Interesting. How are those two going to mesh together? Because that's a premise. That is the premise of this episode that interests me.
You know what?
Right.
I agree with you. But that only works. I think that only works if this isn't the Captain Carter we've seen before.
Right.
Right. Because the end of season 1 is the beginning of this episode.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mess.
Yeah.
what a mess. I don't dislike this episode. I've always been the least interested in the Steve Rogers, Peggy Carter. Like, one of the films that interests me the least is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad film at all. I think it's an excellent film. But if you were to ask me what aspect of the MCU, what history, what in-between filler stories, whatever, are you the most interested in, that's not high on my list. Right? Like, I just don't... the Hydra Stomper and all this stuff, it just doesn't interest me, right? I'm like, we're done with Hydra. Hydra's been done for a while. Let's move on. Right? We're like, it's old. We're just trying to circle back to old things now, and we will talk about that in a bit with the Infinity Stones. My God.
But the Hydra Stomper in the Red Room aren't Hydra.
No, but the Hydra Stomper still alludes to Hydra. Right, like we're still in that era where Hydra is the big baddie, and
yeah, I mean, yeah, technically, because this episode, the start of this episode is technically the start of the second Captain America film.
Yeah,
but yeah, the name of the mech that Steve Rogers pilots, this Hydra Stomper, is named that because that's what it was named in World War II.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by a brainwashed Steve Rogers who is, although like brainwashed by the Red Room, but brainwashed in a very similar fashion to how Bucky is brainwashed by Hydra.
Oh, you know what they should have done?
What?
And it kind of takes that brainwashing thing that you're talking about. They should have done, what if Captain America was an agent of Hydra?
Yeah, see?
Because they did it in the comics just recently. And then like we were saying earlier, this is a great place to kind of whet the palates of the comic book nerds out there like myself. Right? Yeah. Like, we're not going to get Captain America, agent of Hydra, like from the comics in MCU, but you could have done it here. You could have had Captain America go, "Hail Hydra," right? Like, that was such a big thing in the comics not that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
see, and that's interesting.
Missed it. Oh, damn it, Brady.
See, that would have been good.
Oh, and so I don't much better than this.
I don't dislike this episode. I just think it's kind of weak. Like, it's just not
right.
It's not a what if story. We're already out of what if.
So are you saying it's weak because it's not a what if story? Or are you saying it's weak just because of the premise?
No, I mean, again, I like the Red Room Steve Rogers thing, although it seems a little weird because Steve Rogers has really never had a connection to the Red Room. Right. Whereas he has with Hydra.
Yeah. How much did the Red Room actually exist in World War II has never really been dove into. So I guess it is kind of open there that they can play with it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Red Room thing fascinates me more than the Hydra thing, just because the Red Room is something that we, as much as we sort of delved into it in the Black Widow movie, there's still so many question marks around the Red Room.
Yeah.
Right. And how it works and why it was the way it was. Like, there's just so much around. Yeah, there's just like a lot of really interesting stuff there. But I mean, I think it's just a weak episode because for me, because it's following characters who I've historically been slightly less interested in. And it just feels like, it just kind of feels like anytime we I get that these are what if stories, so the purpose is not to progress the story. But anytime we kind of go back to, Steve before he went into the ice, or Steve back in the 50s and the 40s and the what, I just feel like we're rummaging around in the past.
Yeah.
Right? And we're just kind of like not.
Yeah. So, and I think
we're not really treading any new ground.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things here, I feel like maybe what's happened with this season is people loved what they did with Peggy Carter in season 1. And I'll admit, like, even though the last episode wasn't really a what if episode because we got an amalgamation of characters from previous episodes in the season, it still kind of was. Like, what if all these characters became the multiverse Avengers? That's kind of a what if story in itself, even though we've already seen them. And Peggy Carter was awesome in her own episode and in that finale episode. And I think people really liked that character. And then we got Peggy Carter in Doctor Strange. Not the same Peggy Carter as our what if episodes here, but another Peggy Carter. And she was pretty cool. I feel like they were like, people like Peggy Carter. Let's just make this season about Peggy Carter. And that was the wrong train of thought.
And Haley Atwell is a lot cheaper to get than Chris Evans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. And so this episode, I'm kind of on the same field as you. I don't think the premise is as bad. I think the approach to it was wrong. It's not a what if episode by any stretch of the imagination because we're dealing with this. We've seen this character in 2 other episodes in last season, but I would agree. Like, it's not a bad episode, and I'll say this for all the other episodes where we see Peggy Carter again, they're not bad.
No,
but
no,
her reoccurrence doesn't make it feel like what I want my what if episode should feel like.
Right.
So, and in my opinion, that hurts it overall. But not like as individual episodes, it might not necessarily hurt it, but overall it hurts the series.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. No, I would agree.
Anyway.
I would agree.
This one's a big, it's not a win. It's not a loss.
Yeah. So moving on back to an actual, I would say, even though this is going to have some future tie-ins in the season, back to a what if. Yeah.
This one ends with something that makes it not a what if, but yeah, it in itself, it is definitely a what if and kind of a cool what if.
It's, listen. Okay, I'll read the synopsis first.
Yeah.
So the episode is What If Kahori Reshaped the World? After Surtur destroys Asgard during Ragnarok, the Tesseract crash lands in a lake in the Haudenosaunee Confederacy in pre-colonial America, giving it magical properties. After numerous tribespeople disappear while interacting with it, it becomes known as the Forbidden Lake. In the late 15th century, young Mohawk siblings Kahori and Wada are hunted by Spanish conquistadors. I always screw that word up. Who ransacked the village in search of the Fountain of Youth. While hiding inside a cave, Wada is captured by Kahori. Wada is captured and Kahori is shot, causing her to fall into the Forbidden Lake, which teleports her to another dimension where she is nursed back to health by fellow Mohawk people. A villager named Atrax.
Yeah.
Sorry for me butchering all of these pronunciations. Explains that the missing tribespeople were teleported into the Sky World, where they gained powers and immortality, but were unable to return home. Kahori familiarizes herself with her newfound powers, and the
Conquistadors.
Conquistadors, stupid name, enter the lake, believing it to be the fountain, and invade the Sky World. Kahori stops them and forces the portal from the sky to the ground and returns home. She and the village defeat the conquistadors, rescue her power. Because it's stupid. Because it's like, are they Spanish? They must be. Yeah, they're Spanish. Right. Conquistadors. Yeah, okay. So it's less stupid. I just can't say it because I'm stupid. Rescue her people and later force Queen Isabella to make peace. Soon after, Doctor Strange Supreme emerges from a separate portal and approaches Kahori. Okay. I need to preface this. I want to preface this. I have great respect and have had the privilege, because of the job that I've had for the last year and a half, I've had the privilege of being in rooms during ceremonies and working with and being involved in stuff with First Nations people that I would not have had the First Nations and Native Americans that I would not have had the opportunity to do if not being in the job that I am, right? Like things, like sacred things that normally super white guys like me are not in the room for, right? Don't get to be a part of. So the whole culture is very near and dear to me. Having said that, this is a stupid episode. This is a stupid episode. Not because I think it's an uninteresting, boring, or bad episode. The opposite. I think it's very interesting. I think it's fun. I think it's a good episode. But it's stupid because the whole idea to me of what if is, what if the stories that you already know went a little differently than the way you know them to have gone. Right? What if this one variable changes? Not, let's introduce new characters that you've never heard of before. Right? And so to me, that just seemed weird. Because it's like, listen, I don't know if Marvel has plans for Kahori to show up at some point on the Sacred Timeline, and like, I don't know. If they do, that might piss me off even more, because why would you introduce a character and set them up in your animated What If show? That seems stupid to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you doing? So it just seemed bizarre to me that this was a What If episode about someone who we've never met before. Right? Introducing a new hero, right? So, it's not what if Kahori reshaped the world. It's what if, because people are looking at that going, well, who the hell's Kahori? Fair question. The episode is more, what if after Asgard was destroyed, the Tesseract ended up in a lake and a Mohawk woman received superpowers as a result of it? A Mohawk woman who you've never met before, and you don't, whatever. What pisses me off more than anything when it comes to film and the inclusion of different cultures and different ethnicities and different, whatever, right? The opposite of whitewashing. Because whitewashing pisses me off. Don't get me wrong. But what pisses me off more than anything else is when it feels like a story or a direction or a decision or whatever it is was made simply for the purposes of inclusion. Well, we have to do this story, otherwise we won't be seen as, when there's like a political agenda to it. Right? Because to me, that's kind of like, and I don't know that that's what they're doing here, but it kind of feels like it might be, right? Because you almost border on, if the reason you're doing this is simply because you don't have a Native American character yet, and so you better do it, because otherwise you're going to seem insensitive and non-inclusive. That to me is almost more, it almost becomes racist again. It almost becomes, oh, well, we better give a special treatment because, I was actually having a conversation with this about someone last night, right? A coworker of mine who is from Trinidad, right? And we were talking about it and he agreed. I was like, this has always been my stance, and he agrees. I was like, the problem for so many white people is that they get so concerned about, we're so worried that they're racist that they go out of their way a little bit and give a little extra special treatment to their black friends or their black coworkers or whatever. And then that kind of becomes racist again, right? Like it's special treatment. It's different treatment because of their skin color and their ethnicity. Yeah. And so this to me is just like, I don't know that that's why they're doing this. I just don't understand. If it's not that, if it's not, hey, wow, we have Black Panther and we have Shang-Chi and we have, we have all this other representation. We don't have a North American, Native American representation. So we better get on that. To me, that's bullshit. And you're not doing anybody justice. You're not doing anybody any favors by doing it that way. And you're especially not doing anyone any favors or any justice by, like, if that is your goal, if your goal is to be more inclusive, that's great. But if you're introducing this character simply because you're worried about not seeming inclusive, and you're going to dump this character on a who gives a shit animated, doesn't matter or mean anything show, then that pisses me off.
Yeah. You could even compound your argument with the fact that there are Native American heroes within Marvel canon. They could have, like, why
so use them?
You take somebody that people already know and love and give them their limelight.
Like, I'm not familiar with is like, her name isn't a clickable link on IMDb or on Wikipedia.
Kahori was created for What If.
So they just literally pulled this character out of their ass.
Yeah.
So listen again, I don't know that was the motivation behind this, but I also don't get, and it's not just a Native American thing. This could be a white hero. This could be a whoever. Why are you giving us a What If episode about someone? Why are you making up a character? Well, what if there was a character named this? Well, I don't know. What if there was a banana with a sentient banana with superpower? The options for that are endless. But that's not that's not the understood premise of this show. And so that's what leads me to think that it's more of a political sidestep.
I would have to, not that we're ranking individual episodes, but if we were, I would be down ranking my episode after your argument. Not the Native American part. The what if. No, this isn't a what if. The what episode. If part. Yeah, like, because I thought this was a really cool premise and idea.
It's a great episode.
But you're right.
Great
it's
story.
Not really a true kind of what if episode. Because even a lot of comic what ifs, I think, I don't want to say all, but I'll because there might be some one or two here or there that aren't. But like, for the most part, what if episodes are kind of, as you say, moments in comics where a character makes another choice or something else happens to force everything to go in a different direction.
Jeffrey Wright's whole monologue is about, like, the stories, the way that you know them, and whatever. Yeah. But what what if they happened a little differently? Yeah. And what if
even like the preface for this episode, Asgard destroyed by Surtur. Well, in the MCU as we know it, Surtur's destroyed in the 2000s of Earth's history. right? Because the MCU kind of follows our year timeline.
Yeah.
Right? 2012 is when Avengers came out.
Well, right up until Endgame, and then things jump by like 5 years. But yeah.
But yeah, the point is like when Asgard was destroyed in the MCU would have been the same kind of year on Earth that it was released in theaters when we got Ragnarok. So this is saying, what if Surtur destroyed Asgard a lot sooner? So that's your first what if. And we don't see any of that. And that's assuming that the Tesseract is also on Asgard at that time, which in the MCU it was not.
Right.
So there's another what if. And then, it's making a lot of new what if assumptions to create this thing, none of which fall within the world we already know.
Yep.
So you're right. This is would not be a true kind of what if episode.
No, it's weird. It like, having said that, great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like fun episode. It was
a really fun episode.
I like the character.
Great premise. An idea.
Yeah.
Can we call it a true what if?
Weird.
I'm with you. I think we can't. I would have said yes prior to what you were saying. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not really a what if episode. And
the only returning cast for this one is Benedict Cumberbatch. Obviously shows up as Doctor Strange at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 30 seconds he shows up.
Moving on. What if Hela found the 10 rings? Now, right off the bat, I'm intrigued by this title because Hela is another kind of big question. There's a whole history there with Odin and Asgard and Hela, and that we've only kind of heard glimpses of. So anything including Hela, I'm like, okay,
premise.
I'm kind of interested. Yeah.
You merge that with the 10 rings, which we only recently kind of got some light shed on.
Oh, and there's so many questions about the 10 rings.
Yeah, there's still a lot of unknowns.
So growing weary of Hela's bloodlust in the 9 realms, Odin banishes her to Earth and strips her powers by destroying Mjolnir and placing an enchantment on her crown. So kind of echoing, it's like, oh, okay, Mjolnir was Hela's weapon in this universe. And
I'm pretty sure it was her weapon in our universe too. In the
was it?
In the ceiling when she tears down the architecture of the ceiling to reveal her and Odin, I'm pretty sure she's holding Odin. I
gotta pull this up right now. I gotta see. Hela mural in Ragnarok.
Yes, she is.
She is. Good golly. Okay, so that was hers. And it turns out that this whole, whoever be worthy thing, that's like Odin's go-to move.
Yeah. That's his prime punishment for selfish children.
Yeah.
Note to self, take my son's favorite toy and put an enchantment on it.
Yeah. So he casts her out. Hela lands in medieval China and is confronted by the armies of Zhen Wenwu, and she attempts to retrieve the crown, but fails. Wenwu keeps Hela alive and tries to recruit her to his army, but she escapes after failing to steal his 10 rings. She is guided by a Hundun? To the realm of Tailo, which, of course, is where Shang-Chi's mom is from, where she convinces their leader, Jay Li, to let her join their cause. Jay Li teaches Hela martial arts after she recognizes her true desire for freedom from control. Excuse me. After Heimdall reports his failures to locate Hela, Odin visits Earth to battle Wenwu in retaliation. Hela joins Wenwu in fighting against Odin, ultimately winning and regaining her worthiness to wield her crown. Odin recognizes Hela's growth and submits Asgard's throne to her. Hela unites the armies of Asgard and Wenwu's 10 Rings organization and embarks on a journey to ensure freedom across the 9 realms and beyond, coming to the rescue of Gamora's people as Thanos attacks them. This is okay. So Cate Blanchett is back as Hela. Idris Elba is there as Heimdall. And I think that's it as far as recognizable returning cast.
Everyone else is a new voice actor filling the role.
Yeah.
It's funny that Idris Elba came back, because I've read reports that he hated playing Heimdall.
Well, afternoon of voice work for a good chunk of money is,
I suppose. Yeah.
This is maybe the most misleading title I've ever seen,
because she never actually gets the 10 rings.
Oh, it's such a clickbait title.
Yeah.
Right, because your assumption is like, shit. Right? You read this title and you go, holy crap. Hela with all the powers of Hela, but now she's also wielding the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Never happens.
No.
It's not at all what this episode is.
Would have been, a better title would have been like, what if she was cast out of Asgard, or what if she lost her crown, or something like that. Yeah, they're really missing the mark on these titles for sure.
Yeah, and then so ultimately as a result, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Like what the episode ends up being, I just don't care. It doesn't end up being interesting to me. I'm like, okay.
The titles were. I quickly looked back to season 1. The season 1 titles were way better.
Way more accurate.
Yeah, they're missing the mark here. Anyway, sorry, I missed what you said.
I just don't care about this episode.
Really?
Right? I cared about the premise. The teased
10 Rings premise.
The lied to me premise. And then I watched it, and I don't know. I don't know if it had been titled more accurately, if I would have enjoyed it more. I don't know if I'm just salty because I didn't get what I like. It was like, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be. But this is just not a standout episode to me. Like, it's just
interesting.
It's just whatever. Like, I just didn't end up caring.
Yeah, it worked for me. Like, for a what if, like, this is a true what if episode, in my opinion. Like, what if the Hela we knew got the Thor treatment in terms of punishment? Right. Instead of being locked away in some unknown realm for eons, what if Odin did to her what he did to Thor, and made her kind of learn a lesson and grow and become something more. I thought that was cool. I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Well, good for you.
I'm real happy for you. She goes on that, and she kind of does, like, she literally goes on that kind of journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. Just for me, I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't like it.
Bitter about the title, eh?
I think I'm just bitter about the title. Episode 8. What if the Avengers assembled in 1602? A little misleading of a title.
I am so disappointed by this episode for reasons that aren't related to what if.
All right, we'll get into that. But first, after arriving in the Elizabethan era themed universe, Captain Carter agrees to help Wanda Merlin and Sir Nicholas Fury stop an impending incursion. She saves Prince Loki from being pulled into a tear but fails to save Queen Hela and is hunted by Sir Harold the Happy Hogan under King Thor's orders. Carter learns the incursion is occurring due to the presence of the Forerunner, another time-displaced individual, and works with Tony Stark to build a device that can identify the Forerunner using the Time Stone in Thor's scepter. Because at this point, Marvel is just like, I don't know, people like the Infinity Stone stuff. Let's keep harking on the Infinity Stones.
Hammer this.
Oh, my God. Tony suggests she is working with the Outlaws, Steve Rogers, Bucky Barnes, and Scott Lang. Very like Robin Hood-esque kind of guys to help steal it. Carter finds the group, but then they are ambushed by Hogan. Carter gives herself up before freeing herself and a masked Bruce Banner. They meet with Stark and join Rogers' group in infiltrating Thor's court. With Wanda and Fury's help, the group retrieves the Time Stone for Stark's device, which identifies Rogers as the Forerunner, who had inadvertently created a temporal anomaly while battling Thanos. Carter bids farewell to Rogers and returns him to his time, preventing the incursion before she is met by Strange Supreme. For cast, we have Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, Samuel... Sorry, I'm sounding like Pete. Samuel L. Jackson as Sir Nicholas Fury, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, or Wanda Merlin, rather, Chris Hemsworth as King Thor Odinson, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, Jon Favreau as Sir Harold the Happy Hogan / the Freak, Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Benedict Cumberbatch. We got the whole team.
Yeah.
The whole team's here. Strangely, the whole team is here because most of them don't appear in the finale. This was kind of the cast budget episode. I don't know. I don't know why it was done that way, but whatever. This is not a what if episode at all. This is a what happened, what's happening, what's going to happen. And this is the episode where, for me, like it's an entertaining episode. Don't get me wrong. It's entertaining. I had fun watching it, except this is where things were thrown together in a very sloppy manner, because you sort of get a nod at the fact, like, okay, you don't need an explanation for Sam Jackson's, like, this is just the 1602 Sam Jackson, Nicholas Fury. That's fine. This is the 1602, Thor. This is the 1602 Tom Hiddleston. This is the 1602 Bruce Banner. That's fine. 1602 Scott Lang. We kind of get, okay, this is the Steve Rogers that was pulled back from a different time. So that kind of explains why he's there. Captain Carter obviously is there from when we see her get sucked through the portal, right? We get a flashback to that. We get to see it like from a different angle. We get to see the continuation of that shot. Makes sense for me why or how, or is it the same one? Is it just a coincidence that the 1602 Happy Hogan is also the Freak? Or is this the Happy Hogan that saved Christmas and for some reason now he's in 1602?
I don't know.
It's like it all comes together, but in a who gives a shit how we get there kind of way.
We've got these characters. Let's mash them in here. Let's ram them in here, whether they belong here or not, or whether it makes sense or not. Or yeah.
What if people just stopped questioning Marvel's ways? What if I don't know. It's stupid. It's an entertaining episode. It's a fun episode. It is. There's fun banter. It's fun to see the whole Robin Hood thing go down. It's fun to see 1602 Tony Stark. It's fun to see all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just a garbage story. Like, it doesn't tie in, and it shouldn't tie in, and it should have just been its own thing.
Yeah. The only reason it ties in is because Captain Peggy Carter in episode 5 disappeared through a portal, and because in the next episode she has to save the universe again. That's it. That's it. That's why this is here.
I've felt this way about shows for a long time. Like, a show that you and I got you into, but a show that I've been into for a long time, and I've never seen all of, because I reached a point a couple of times. I'm like, all right, this is the time. I'm just going to watch it all. And then I reach like the 8th or 9th season, and I'm like, I can't do it. I'm just not interested anymore. Is Supernatural.
Right.
And one of my things in Supernatural for a very long time is it was a better show when each week, each episode, they were in a new city. It was a different case, a different monster, a different type of whatever. And it wasn't, there was still some throughput, but it wasn't as much as later on when it's like, well, this is just a continuation of what's happened in the last 8 episodes.
When it was less of a serial show and more of a one-off. Yeah,
I felt the same way. Listen, much to friend of the show Emily Mader's disgruntlement, I have some major issues with the show Smallville. Right? It's a fun kind of what if different version of the story thing, and for that it's fine. I guess the issue that I take with it is more like people like Emily who only really know, like, that is their knowledge of Superman, and it's like, well, okay, but hang on, because there's like, that can't be your Superman knowledge, because it's Smallville, right? That can be Smallville knowledge, but that's not Superman knowledge. Even in the early seasons, I assume you've seen Smallville. You watched Smallville?
I've seen some of it.
So in the first couple of seasons, it's got that supernatural kind of like, oh, there's some guy that's shown up and he's got this type of powers, and we got to figure that out this week. And the thing with the bugs, and the thing with, like, each episode is just kind of its own thing until it became this big serial story. And then I'm just like, okay, like, because the problem with that, with Supernatural, when it was a story that was each week was a new thing, if you didn't like the story, that was fine, because in 40 minutes it's going to be over and we're on to something new. Whereas when it was once it became this like heavily serialized thing, if you didn't like the story, if you didn't care about the story, I'm sorry, son, that's the next 22 episodes. It's the next 22 episodes. That's the story of this season. Sorry about your luck. Right? So I just, anyways. And that's the issue with What If, is that it should be, no show has ever been more poised to completely ignore the pull or the temptation to serialize itself. No show has ever been more perfectly positioned to just make each episode its own well-wrapped thing that has nothing to do with anything else.
Not only that, it has absolutely no need or no right to be anything close to a serial by design. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're on the same page here.
Yeah. So interesting. But just a sloppy conglomeration of a story that didn't need to be conglomerated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Final
Not only
episode.
that, as a fan of the comic book 1602 series, which was the original run, was written by the amazing, if you love comic books, well-known Neil Gaiman. Like, guy's a legend in comic books. And this show, in my opinion, just butchered it. Like,
yeah,
this is.
Yeah. I don't have an opinion either way on that because I'm not.
This is so far
story,
from what 1602 is and should be that I'm sad. It does some things right, but it's like when I heard 1602 was going to be a What If episode, I was so excited, and then I watched this and I was like, this happens in 1602, but this is not the Marvel's comic book 1602. They're right. This is clickbait for anybody who loved the 1602 comics.
Right.
And it's a trap. Yeah. It's a trap and a travesty.
It's a trap. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's very disappointing.
All right, our season finale. And a title that suggests you're not even trying anymore.
Yeah.
What if Strange Supreme intervened? What? You're not, at least the other titles, even when they weren't setting up their own unique premise, even when they were misdirects, at least sounded like they were setting up their own unique premise. This is just, well, what if the story continued and we tell you how it works out? What if we give away the catalyst in the title and we make it perfectly clear that we're just continuing what's already happened?
Yeah.
Strange Supreme takes Captain Carter to his sanctum infinitum. I don't know. Where he reveals that he has been capturing universe killers to atone for his sins, and asks her for help in capturing an escaped variant who fled to a universe where Hydra used the Tesseract to destroy the world. Carter agrees and encounters Kahori, welcome back, who reveals that Strange has been capturing variants to feed the Forge, a contraption he built to resurrect his lost universe. As Strange attempts to kill Kahori, Carter frees his captives, allowing her and Kahori to escape. Amidst the chaos, the pair encounter Black Panther Killmonger, who Kahori separates from his armor, allowing Carter to use his Infinity Stones. He's back. There's your season 1.
Yeah, Black Panther from season 1.
Tie-in. Stupid.
Not that we haven't had a bunch already.
While the pair battle Strange at the Forge, the variants lend their weapons to the two women while Kahori sends them home. Strange is taken over by his demonic self. Though Carter separates them, as the Forge collapses, Strange sacrifices himself and his counterpart to it. The Watcher returns Kahori home and brings Carter to Strange's restored universe, revealing he succeeded in resurrecting Christine Palmer, though he can never be reborn into it. Carter asks the Watcher to show her the multiverse before taking her home, because I'm sure nothing bad can come of that.
Yeah. And we need Peggy Carter for season 3. She's got to be in at least half the episodes.
Listen, fun episode. It was. I like the episode.
Yeah. Same as all the other ones that aren't What If episodes.
Strange turns out to be a universe killer.
Strange turns out to be the dick he always was in the first season.
Exactly. But just why? Right? Like, what is the show? Try to understand Marvel, what show it is that you're making.
Yeah.
Because either you don't get it, or you do get it, but you misled us.
And you don't care.
And you don't care.
You obviously don't care if you get it. Yeah. Again, this is not a what if. This is and what else?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. I don't have anything else to say about that. It's a fun episode, but just unnecessary.
Yeah. Not what if.
Not what if.
It's
not what if at all. No.
So what else and what happens?
Yeah. All right, Carl, here's the question for you. I was going to ask you if you want a season 3. But your answer doesn't matter. Whether we want it or not doesn't matter. Right? They're probably going to do it.
Yeah.
Because why not? You can do these relatively cheap. You get to stretch your creative muscles. Yeah. You get to tell the stories that you want to tell.
I would, you know what? I do want one. I would love a season 3.
They're not going to change their format, though.
Even though we got a bunch of and what else and what happens, we did get some cool what ifs. Like,
we did.
What if Gamora? What if Peter Quill? What if Happy Hogan? And even though What If Iron Man had a what happens to in it, it focused more on the Iron Man aspect than the Gamora we've already seen.
Yeah.
So even though over half were, well, I guess the first Kahori episode, yeah. So I'd say half, over, just kind of 1.5. Yeah, we'll split it right down the middle. Half were great, kind of what if episodes, I think.
Yeah.
So even if we get more Captain Carter, which is completely unnecessary for a what if show, because we've already gotten plenty of her. Give me some what if someone else instead. I'd be down for more, even if half of them aren't what ifs, because like we said, even though they're not like what a what if episode should be, there was still some fun to be had.
Yeah. Yeah, it was still fun. And, so maybe just start giving us half seasons. Give us the first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And then just ignore the rest. Just take your plans for tying it all together and leave them on the floor. Yeah. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank season 2 of What If?
Man.
As a whole.
If I'm looking at it as a whole, as a what if Marvel show, I gotta give it like a 5. Like, these aren't what if episodes. They're like we're beating a dead horse at this point, so I don't need to explain it. I'm not gonna, but they're not what ifs. As a Marvel animated project, it's a lot. I would say it's a lot higher, but for a what if season, it's a 5. It's fun, but it misses the mark more than it hits for a what if. What about you?
I give it a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't care. I like it. The shining star in this season was the Tony Stark on Sakaar episode.
That was your favorite?
It was my favorite. And everything else was just kind of lowered the score.
Yeah.
Just
for me,
brought
it'd be
down.
a toss-up between episode 1 and episode 2.
Yeah.
I really like the
Quill
cyberpunk one. Blade Runner feel of Nebula joining the Nova Corps.
See, I'm also not a Blade Runner fan, so that doesn't do anything for me. But, but that's just because I've never seen either of the Blade Runner films.
Technically, there's like 6 or 7 or probably 10.
Well, whatever. But if
you count all the re-releases and
you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all listed below. We have a Patreon page with not only some more content coming this year, but potentially a whole new type of content we've just sort of been chit-chatting about, and workshopping how we're going to make that work. But stay tuned for that. And we have a merch page.
What if there was more merch?
Then there'd be more options for people to... Is this a trick question? I don't
know. We're doing a what if episode, so I'm posing the question. What if...
Okay.
What if we allowed our Patreons to create merch for us?
Then that'd be an option, I guess. That'd be a thing. But yeah, keep tuned. We've got some fun things on the way. Carl and I are now at the point now that What If is out of the way. Stay tuned probably this coming week for the first episode of Echo.
Maybe all the episodes. We need to talk. I don't know.
Did you watch it all?
No, I haven't, but I feel like it's something we could do an amalgamation episode for again too, because it's only 6 episodes.
Hang on, let me watch the first episode and then I'll weigh in.
All right.
And until next week, when we talk about news, it's a big news week coming up this coming week. It's gonna be a solid episode. Are you excited?
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
Big stuff. Like there's a new Jurassic World movie coming.
More Deadpool rumors, I bet.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Definitely some Fantastic Four stuff, some Jurassic Park stuff, all kinds of stuff coming.
Fun.
You're so full of shit.